Hi, it's Abdullah, and in this video I've got something very special to show you guys. I'm gonna be unboxing one of my favorite Nokia slider devices. So this one came out in 2009. This isn't the exact original box that the device actually came in. That was more gray. Do any of you remember the Nokia OV store? Well, let's explore the box. This, ladies and gents, is the Nokia N86 8MP. And it's pretty much one of the last, if not the last, Nokia N80 series of slider devices. And how cool is that color? So let's talk about the specs of the N86 quickly. So the processor on the N86 was an ARM11 single core processor clocked at 434 MHz, and it came with 128 megabytes of built-in RAM as well as 8 GB of internal storage. The battery on the N86, which is, as you can see, removable, has a capacity of 1200 milliamps. And it was good for about 312 hours of standby time, if I'm not mistaken. Let's power it on. How iconic is that? So the display on the N86 is a 2.6-inch AMOLED display with a resolution of 320 by 240, which was referred to back in the day as QVGA. As for the operating system, the N86 is running on Symbian S60 9.3 and it was released 3.2, which had new icons compared to the N85 and shared some of the same design elements as the touchscreen Symbian found on the N97. Two of the coolest things about the N86 were, of course, the fact that it's a slider, but not just a traditional slider. It was a dual slider, so it can slide in both directions, and it hid a music player on the other side. So how cool is that? And of course the sliding mechanism is, as you'd expect from a Nokia device, super satisfying. Just unbelievably satisfying. I still think the design actually holds up even today, and even the build quality is really superb, as you'd expect from, well, a Nokia device really. But the coolest aspect of the N86 was definitely its 8MP rear-facing camera, which has dual LED and a variable aperture. So this phone could interchange between f2.4, f3.6 and f4.8 automatically based on the lighting situation. So whether you want the phone to capture more light by increasing the aperture or by getting a sharper image by reducing the aperture, which is really cool. And you can activate the camera by just sliding the back cover. The phone also had a kickstand, so you could lie on a table and watch stuff. Let's quickly go through the hardware of the N86. So on the right hand side you have the volume rocker, nice and clicky. You also have dual speakers up and down, and you had the camera shutter key as well, with a half click for autofocus and a full click to capture the image. On the left hand side you have the slider lock and unlock, so you can lock or unlock the device by sliding this up or down. Really cool. On the top of the N86 you have the power off and on button. You have a 3.5mm headphone jack and a micro USB port for charging. And on the rear you just had a microphone for calling, as well as the insert so you can open the battery compartment and remove the removable battery. I really adore the hardware of this phone. It was quite hefty for its time at around 147 grams, but it just feels so nice in the hand. And even though the back is made out of plastic, it was still quite solid and had a very nice and smooth texture to it. And it's very similar to the back plate found on the N97 as well. Check out this, it has an always on display, well, just limited for a period of time, but it shows you the time even when the display is locked in a very cool way. The phone was also capable of multitasking. As you can see, you can check all the open applications. The buttons are all nice and clicky. And for those of us that can remember typing on the T9 experience, which wasn't actually as bad as people probably imagine it to be, it was quite smart. And you get used to it and you can actually type really quickly eventually. A lot of great things were in here and so many features were actually on this phone. And it even had the UV store for downloading apps and programs and installing them. And it even had OV maps for navigation. And it was also capable of playing games thanks to its Engage experience. It could even receive software updates over the air. So just for fun, let's compare the size of the N86 against some more modern smartphones. So the N86 next to the Nokia X20. Just look at how comically large phones are these days compared to before. But look at the thickness difference as well. And of course, banana for scale. So one of the really cool things about this phone's camera is that it comes with a 28mm equivalent lens, which was considered for the time an ultra-wide field of view, and it is even today considered wider than most phones that have a 32 or even a 35mm equivalent lens. So that was quite cool. So this was one of the first phones to come with an ultra-wide camera, and this was in 2009. And let's just for fun try some images. So you half press on the shutter key for autofocus and then you full press to capture an image. I don't know if you can see this, but it's honestly not bad. I might share a few samples just for fun. But yeah, the phone was also capable of capturing video in 480p resolution, less than HD. Pretty much, which was behind some of its competitors at the time, but it also had panoramic mode, which was quite cool and very smart, as you can see. And you can also capture images in a sequence, so similar to a burst mode that you find these days. And you also had many different settings for different situations. So if you want to capture a close-up or a night image or a sports image, all of that was actually readily available in software, so it was smarter than you'd think. Yeah, this is like a proper nostalgia trip, this phone. By the way, you could get the N86 in either this very nice and cool white color, or you could get it in a black color, which was more like a very dark purple / blue. But I prefer this color. I think it's a bit more striking, although the darker color is more iconic for this sort of device and more memorable for this sort of device. Anyways, that's it from me. I hope you guys found this video useful. I really enjoyed filming it. You know, it's a nice trip through nostalgia. So thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.